Hi, I'm Steve.
And I'm Sandy, and we're two tenderfoot tourists. Welcome to episode 98, the one about Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. Well, today we have back with us roller coaster enthusiast. Shut up.
I just keep going at this point. I think the intro's funnier now.
Go ahead.
Roller coaster enthusiast and our friend Jason Dingeldein.
Say hello, Jason.
Hello, Jason.
And his
Well
lovely wife and our longtime listener, Sarah. Hello.
Hi, Sarah.
That's kind of creepy.
That was cool.
Hello, Sarah. Yuck.
And you guys just got back from a really exciting trip, right?
Yeah, we went to Nixa.
Oh, wow.
It was great.
You know, Jason Bourne is from...
See?
There you go.
Yeah.
Can you get any better than that?
I know. That's what I'm telling you. Nobody believes me.
So, wow, they have a lot of rides in Nixa.
They do, yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Cows, horses.
Now, Jason, you take a yearly trip, is that right?
Well, I wish. If anybody wants to go yearly, I would go, but it's every other year at this point.
Oh, and where is it you go?
We go to Sandusky, Ohio.
Now, you're, as we said, a roller coaster enthusiast, so you went to visit Cedar Point while you were there, correct?
That is correct.
That's the whole reason we went.
That is the whole reason why you go.
We just kind of happened to be there, and I thought, it's here. Let's go try it.
You're just passing through.
Actually, I've got a really good story if you want me to tell a story.
Sure. I'm done. I'm not listening.
When I went to Cedar Point, oh gosh, this would have been the early 2000s. Me and a buddy of mine, Sarah knows, Nathan Edwards. I think I told you this story. We went in to eat breakfast like at a Burger King or something. I don't remember. And there was this old guy and possibly his grandson or something with him. And Nathan's kind of a bit of a character. And he said, "Hey, watch this." Okay. So he walks up to this old
Famous
guy at
last
this
words.
table.
Hey, watch this.
Yeah. Hold
my beer. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So he walks up and he goes, "Hey, you guys from here in town?" "Yeah." He goes, "Well, we're from out of town, me and my friend here, and we're just wondering if there's anything to do in this town." And you have to remember, Sandusky, Ohio is kind of like the Branson of northern Ohio. It's got like a strip that you didn't get to see it. We took a back way in, but it's got a strip. It's like Branson minus the country music shows. There's go-karts and golf and just it's like a touristy spot. So we were in the
idea about that.
Yeah, that's true. We were in the middle of this. And so he asked, "Hey, is there anything to do?" Like there's a golf course across the street, mini golf, right? "Well, if you go up a little ways, there's this amusement park up there, but I don't know if I'd go there if I were you." And Nathan's like, "Oh yeah, why is that?" He goes, "Man, they charge you for everything in there." He goes, once you get in there, they'll charge you to fart. And actually,
Charge you to fart.
Yeah, that's not too far off.
Wow.
It's probably one of the few things you can do for free in there.
Wow.
That's
well,
awesome.
I mean, me, I don't know about Sarah, but.
No, they didn't charge me.
Okay, cool.
She counted how many times too. She's waiting for it. She had it all told up, waiting to pay her bill, but it never came up, did it?
Wow.
Way more honest than I. So I told you it was a good story.
That was a wonderful story. Is there anything good to do? So why don't you slap some knowledge on our listeners about Cedar Point? What is it about Cedar Point?
Cedar Port?
Cedar Point.
Cedar Point.
Cedar Point.
Yeah, Cedar Point. So it's a little amusement park in Sandusky, Ohio, and it's pretty cool because it's like on a peninsula sticking out into Lake Erie. So it's been there, since the 1800s, mid to late 1800s. And it's just progressively gotten bigger and better.
I had no idea it's been around that long.
Yeah, it's got a pretty storied history. And it's known as, or has been known, it's kind of back and forth these days with another amusement park, but it has traditionally been known as the roller coaster capital of the world.
Wow.
And I don't remember, I should have looked before I came in here, but I'd say they're up to, I think, 16 or 17 different roller coasters. And like I told Sarah and my daughter Ariel, who went with us, she's not here today, but I said, everywhere you look, wherever you turn your head, you will see a roller coaster when you're in the park. And true story. Usually several. So it's really cool.
There's also a unique thing to this episode is the fact that it was the first time Sarah's ever been.
That's true.
Correct.
At Cedar Point.
Yes.
And what'd you think of it? Was it everything you hoped it would be? Was it Did it live up to your expectations?
I wasn't sure what to expect other than just hearing about, all the times he's talked about Cedar Point and how great it is and all the rides. So there's a lot of big coasters. I'm used to just Silver Dollar City, which has a lot of good coasters too, but these were a lot bigger.
It actually...
And Disney.
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah. A lot faster, a lot taller.
Yes.
Yeah. When you first arrived at Cedar Point, what was the first thing that you said, I have to ride when I get there, being at your first time at Cedar Point? Did you have like a go-to, I have to ride that?
Not really, because I didn't research ahead of time. I was just there for the ride, walking the park, just tell me where we're going and I'll get on it and ride it and...
Lead the way.
She didn't have anybody to carry. She didn't have anybody to hold hands with. That was
Nice.
small.
Oh, wow.
Just Jason.
Sorry.
So did you have one that's like, I have to get Sarah on this ride first?
You mean at the park?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Sorry about that.
Well, first one we did was Gatekeeper just because it was right
that's
there
true.
when you first walk in.
Yeah, that's true.
But that was one of my favorites. We did it like 2 or 3 times.
Gatekeeper?
3, I think.
Now, what is so special about Gatekeeper?
Gatekeeper is a wing coaster. Okay. So, most of the time you picture a roller coaster and you get in a car and you go on the track, right? Well, the track, instead of, you're sitting on it, it's beside you. Mm-hmm. So there's 2 seats on either side. So the track's in the middle, 2 seats on either side hanging off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like if this table, the seats, this would be the track and the
Mm-hmm.
seats, like everybody can see my visual hand gestures I'm making right now.
Yep. Take pictures, honey.
Yeah. And so, there's nothing above your head or below your feet. So you just get in a chair, strap in.
And you're hanging out.
You're just hanging out. Yeah, exactly. And so it goes up. This one, I believe it's not the tallest. It's one of the tallest in the world, about 170-ish feet. Oh, and it's right on the beach when you get on. It's right. I mean, you're literally just feet away from the water, the beach. So you look one way and you see the water, and you look the other way and you see the park. And it's on a peninsula, so you still see water out there too. But the views at Cedar Point are amazing. But you go up, like I said, 170-ish, 175 feet, and it flips you upside down up at the top and then dives down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's incredible. It's
and
smooth.
What is it called?
Gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper.
Because it actually goes over the entrance gate.
Ah.
So,
okay, that's a creative idea.
Oh, yeah, very creative.
I really like that.
Yeah. And one of the coolest things about Gatekeeper is they have what's called a keyhole element. So the roller coaster, it goes upside down several times. At one time when you're going upside down, you go sideways. So you can picture, you're sideways. And they built the gate to where there's 2 little things you go through, and they're just barely big enough to get the roller coaster through it.
Wow.
And it's twisting at the same time. So it almost looks like, we're not going to make that. It's just barely, set up to where you can twist right through this little opening.
Can you put your hands up in this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the kind that makes a person's natural tendency tell them to duck and curl
For sure.
up.
There was a name you gave that they
Head
give.
chopper?
Head chopper.
Yeah.
It's the illusion that you're going to lose your head.
That's correct, yeah.
And that's exciting for you.
Oh, it's great, yeah.
How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, I loved it.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is kind of cool.
And it's smooth, very smooth.
Now, how rare of style ride is that?
That's pretty rare.
Is it pretty rare? Okay.
Yeah, there's probably a handful in the world.
Okay. Did you have a favorite? If I were to go back again, that is a must ride for anyone that goes to Cedar Point, or I'm going to go on it.
Yeah, I really liked it. I would go on it all day long.
Is that the only one that you'd say that anybody should try out if they haven't been to Cedar Point?
No, Steel Vengeance was really
Steel
good
Vengeance.
too.
That's the one.
Okay, you've talked
really
about Steel
close.
Vengeance.
Steel Vengeance began its life as a wooden coaster called the Mean Streak.
Yes.
So it was built, you can look me up, late 80s, maybe early 90s, I can't remember. But it was built, and it's at the farthest tip of the point out in the water. And so, like other rides, you're right there on the water. Just look out. It's like you're falling in the water. So it's really cool. Very picturesque. And honestly, I always said it's probably one of the most photogenic roller coasters ever met. Like if you could picture a wooden roller coaster in your mind, this would be, the one to picture. It's it's just attractive. It was cool to look at. So it was very, very picturesque.
Do you need a drink of water?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No, I'm good now. Thanks though.
No, you're welcome.
All right. You can edit that part out.
I'd stay in him, bad boy.
Cool. All right.
Oh,
there's the Mean Streak. Yeah. So,
wow. It is pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful to look at, aerial shots. It was great. But, That's Steel Vengeance.
Sandy's showing pictures of what
Yeah.
the Steel Vengeance looks like.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anybody who's listening, look up Steel Vengeance in Cedar Point, and because it just looks cool. But, we rode that. This was my first time riding it. So it was new for 18, I believe 2018. So we didn't go last year. So this was my first time riding it. So I was hoping it would be like awesome. I was expecting, cause Outlaw Run is great, which you and I are going to ride at some point. Outlaw Run is great, but it's like 30 seconds long.
Wow.
This is, Outlaw Run times 10.
Wow.
And I got off and I said, that ride was probably the closest thing to the perfect roller coaster I've ever been on.
Wow.
It was that good.
What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, it was one of my favorites too. And isn't that the one where they had the metal detector in the middle of the
Yeah,
queue?
I'd never seen that before.
What, rewind? A metal detector where?
In the middle of the line when you're going through the line.
Yeah,
They stop
really?
you and they check and make sure that you don't have like money in your pockets or something that's going to fall out on the
Cell
ride.
phone.
Ah.
This thing goes upside down fast and over the line.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming they just don't want stuff falling out.
Oh my gosh, that would be incredible to be standing there and it goes over you. Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
Oh, it's-
that is
yeah.
so cool.
One of the coolest parts about it is, the way the Mean Streak was designed and Steel Vengeance kept was the track weaving in and out of itself and the supports, like underneath and
I
around.
saw pictures
Yeah.
of that. It's really cool.
Yeah. And you talk about head choppers. There's some great head choppers
Oh, yeah.
going through the supports. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that right there in itself would be the one reason and the only reason why you'd probably go back to Cedar Point.
Oh, I said if that were the only roller coaster there, it'd be worth 14-hour drive for me.
Wow. Yeah. How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, it was a good ride.
If anything, I would have went on it more times, but nobody else wanted to go on it as much.
We did probably 3 times at least over the
What was
course
the
of day.
lines like on that?
Only, I know, we could have done like 13. The lines,
Yeah.
they weren't horrible the day we were there on a Sunday. So it was, I would say, what was it, about 60 to 90 minutes whenever we would look on the sign.
I don't remember.
I seem to remember like a 90-minute, but we did the fast passes.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if we're going to be driving 14 hours to go ride roller coasters, I'm not fooling around. We're going to pay the money and we're going to skip these lines because I have went up there and waited 3 hours in a line before.
Just to ride the ride.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now you brought up the subject of money in order to gain entrance to Cedar Point.
Right.
And recently, I mean, every year, Disney raises their prices.
Yeah.
Most of your theme parks really just raise their prices. Silver City is, no exception to the rule.
Sure.
But what would you say as far as value goes and for family entertainment or any one of those aspects that you want in amusement park or a theme park? Would you say it's a good value and compared to like Disney World and stuff like that?
It would be hard to compare it to Disney World, but so I don't know if that's fair.
Okay.
But I would say the value, especially when we got a really good deal, definitely. I mean, the park is huge. You've been to Silver Dollar City lots of times. It's at least 3 to 4 times the size.
That's large?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just more flat area. It's not all the hills.
And it's all flat. Yeah. So that's nice.
Yeah.
And there's always a breeze. So even if it's hot, it's usually breezy.
Now, okay. So, as far as like, besides rides, does that have anything else? Because Silver City has shows and things like that. Does Cedar Point have like shows that they put on, music performances or anything like that?
Yeah. We were like a week or two too late to see the monster trucks.
Oh,
They had
that
a
would
monster
have
truck.
been
That would have been cool.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been kind of cool. Does that cost extra?
I think it did. Yeah.
Okay.
To go ride them. You could go do a little ride through. And,
Oh, well, that would have been really,
Oh, that would
really
be great.
cool.
Yeah. But I would have wanted to be the guy, up in the air and crushing the cars. I don't know if insurance would let them do that. But yeah, they do have shows and stuff going on throughout the day. We walked by, I think, a stunt show that was practicing. They had a stage with bikes and skateboards and I don't remember what all.
Okay. So
Trampolines.
what is entry for?
Oh, sorry.
In 2019, what is the entry for that? And what kind of season do they have? When are they open and closed here?
Standard season, so April, May-ish through September, and then they do weekends for Halloween, and they're usually done by Halloween. They don't do a Christmas thing as far as I know.
Okay.
As far as entry, I want to say they're probably gate price in the $50 to $60 range. Did you look at that? Do you remember?
I didn't
Really?
pay attention, but I think that's what I saw somewhere.
Yeah, that's pretty standard these days. I mean, that's what a day at Silver City will cost you.
Yeah. Well,
Gate price.
Yeah. I was going to say, I thought the gate prices were like $60. Maybe
It might be closer to 60, but yeah. But in our case, we actually went to 2 different parks on this trip. We went to Cedar Point and Sandusky, Ohio. And then since we're already there, Cincinnati was only about 3.5, 4 hours away. There's another park, Kings Island, which we will talk about in another episode.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, and they are actually both parks owned by the same company called Cedar Fair. Cedar Fair owns Cedar Point, and they also own Kings Island in Cincinnati, and also Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, and a few others around the country. So they do, every time we've went these last 3 times, I think they do deals where you can kind of do 2 parks for one price, and it's an insanely good deal. We got admission into both parks per person for $70.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, wow indeed. I can't believe, I don't understand how they can, or that they offer that. It just seems too good to be true.
So how many days? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, that's much, much, much less than Universal and Disney both for
they're
a one
well
day,
over
one park.
$100 a day.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
Yeah, I think someone like George Cerwillo said that their prices this time of year during the summer is like $160.
Yeah, that sounds, I'm sure, peak season.
That is insane. But how many days did you spend at Cedar Point?
Just one.
Just one day?
Open to close, though.
Yep, 10 to 10.
Wow. You guys are like
Hardcore.
Is that for people who ride roller coasters, that is, Cedar Point is considered the Mecca roller coaster?
Yeah, for sure.
So would you say, Sarah, that it would be like after, because we're going to talk about Kings Island, would you say that it's the Mecca for you as far as roller coaster rides, being a novice as far as like theme parks or amusement parks go?
Yeah, it was really big. There's lots of coasters to ride, and a lot of things we didn't get to just because we were focusing on the bigger coasters while we were there. But they had kiddie areas, Snoopy themed, like Worlds of Fun has, which we did Worlds of Fun earlier this summer. And a lot of those were really fun for the kids. But we didn't really focus too much on those rides. We just did the big stuff.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
we only rode roller coasters at Cedar Point.
I was going to say they
Except
do
for
have
one
kid
drop
rides
tower.
though.
We rode I forget, we rode Drop Tower. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, anyway, go ahead, sorry.
They have kid rides there for little ones.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. So.
I would say if we would have had our younger ones with us, we could have easily spent a day just in their kids area. It's phenomenal. The park is just huge, and they've got so much stuff, and it's all age ranges.
Okay, so food. What are the prices of food in the park?
Couldn't tell you.
Do they have? I know you because you're kind of frugal with you're too busy.
Cheap.
You're cheap, and you really want to focus on the rides.
That's right.
Eating takes you away from riding
Correct.
rides. I get it.
There was no eating in the park for me.
Yeah, you told us
load
before
up
the
for
podcast.
breakfast.
Hotel breakfast, man. You find the best one.
Roll me out the door, put me in the car.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Watch the drag on the ground. as it's
Protein,
going
man.
out.
Just packed full of protein, and I was good till
If
after
you're going to
10.
throw up on a ride, you need something to throw up. Dry heaving on a ride does not go well.
Well, it's no fun for the people riding around you that way.
No. It's my gift to you.
Right, yeah, exactly. I don't understand why more people don't see it, man.
Wow.
So, Sarah, what kind of places is there to eat in Cedar Point that someone could be interested in eating at?
I didn't pay as much attention to the food because I was just focused on following everybody else in the group and going from one coaster to the next. We did stop and have lunch. The rest of us, Jason and our daughter Ariel, went and rode some rides while the rest of us ate lunch.
Yeah, some rides, you guys were there like 30 minutes.
45 minutes.
We got 5 rides on
Maverick.
one roller coaster, yeah, while they were eating lunch. It was awesome.
Wow, a whole bunch of people waited in line still to get their first
Yeah, it
turn.
was like an hour line.
It's not, no joke.
And yeah, I was telling Ariel the second or third time, I said, Ariel, you realize there's people who probably have seen us now. They're still in line, and we're on our 3rd ride, just walking right past them.
Yeah, because you have that fast pass.
Yeah, sorry, but
Yeah, we
go
paid
ahead.
extra for that.
Go back to food.
But we stopped at a barbecue place. So you got like, you picked your meat, and then you got a side and a corn muffin, and it was, I think, $15 or $16.
Wow.
But it was very filling.
Was it? Did you get portions are pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What?
I did get Ariel some food now that I remember.
Yeah, later she decided she was hungry, and I think you paid $10 for some chicken strips.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Let's say that
crazy.
kind of reminds me of like Disney World. I mean, we had some chicken strips for Olivia, and I remember I was like,
We're strategic.
Pay this much for that.
Well, we eat there, but what we do is we buy, when all of us were there, we'd buy 1 or 2 meals and we just all
Split
snack
it,
off
yeah.
of it. And I mean, at least that way you don't feel quite as ridiculous. When you go 10 or 15 ahead, that's just over the top.
Yeah. I
So-
don't like to let amusement parks win when it comes to food.
Go ahead.
One park, and I don't remember now if it was Cedar Park or if it was Kings Island, but we stopped. They had a stand that had funnel cake fries. And so I like funnel cakes, so does Ariel. So we split and ordered that. It was probably $5 or $6.
Wow.
That's
So
like a
it
dream.
That
come
is a really
true.
good. That sounds good, though.
Yeah, they were good.
Did it have the powder sugar on top and the whole
Yep.
9 yards?
Yep.
Nice. I kind of like the way that sounds.
I do too.
You guys want to take a trip to go get some of those funnel cake fries?
Sure. Let's do that. I'll watch you ride rides the whole time. How about that, Jason?
Doesn't bother me, but
Might make you a little sad, right?
You'd
the
ride
fact that you're not there.
Yeah.
I mean, on the ride, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd ride at least one.
I would like, if it was, I'd probably ride one ride with you, but I
To
would.
start.
Yeah, I'd be, I would pick the ride.
You know what Jason would do? He'd be like, well, you rode this. You can easily ride this then.
The logic's impeccable.
So you can sell ice to Eskimos, can't you?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Now, if the Eskimos on a roller coaster, I might. I'll talk.
Okay, so Fast Pass. How does Fast Pass work?
So Fast Pass was born out of another way just to get more money out of you once you're inside the park.
Did it cost you a lot extra to do the Fast Pass?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You let the park win.
I did. And well, yeah, that's why I can't let it win with food. So I've been to Cedar Point many, many times, and I've waited in lines for like when Dragster, the Top Thrill Dragster was new. I waited for 3 hours, I think, to ride that one. And I remember when Millennium Force was new, I waited at least 2, maybe 3 hours to ride that. So Disney started doing their Fast Pass system as well. And that might have been about the same time, actually. But these parks realized, why are we doing this for free?
Right.
We can make some money off
These
this.
suckers are going to be
Yeah.
willing to pay for this.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
It is the roller coaster mecca, right?
for sure. Yeah.
For sure. It is the place to go.
And I think, honestly, hard pressed to go to a park anymore, a big one that they don't have some kind of Fast Pass system so you
Yeah.
can skip the line and make money. And, it's got pros and cons just like anything else. Part of the thing people don't like about it is that it creates like 2-tiered guests. You're not one of the special, one of them. You're waiting in line with all the common folk.
Right.
All the elites get to go skip the line. So, good and bad.
I wonder if there's ever a situation where they have a lot of people there that day that have the Fast Pass though, and then it's not going to be very fast.
That's an excellent point. They only sell so many per day.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's smart.
So they don't just, cause then it defeats the whole purpose. Then you can have really mad people.
Yep.
Okay, so
But-
if you're a person who's wanting a Fast Pass, how far in advance can you buy your tickets, and how far in advance can you get your?
It depends. I honestly don't know. We did get all of our stuff in advance, but, you can get the Fast Pass day of, except for like Disney. I don't think you can do that anymore, but most other theme parks, you could just walk in and decide, man, I forget these lines. I'm going to go buy one of these Fast Passes, and you can do it the day of.
Oh,
And once they sell out, they sell out. They'll only sell a certain amount.
what time would you suggest, and what time of year would you suggest you go?
I would suggest probably going spring or fall during the week, not a weekend if you have, the availability to do that. And again, for us, since we're so far away, obviously Springfield, Missouri to Sandusky, Ohio, 14 hours, how valuable is your time? How much is your time worth?
Right.
And for me, if I'm going to drive 14 hours, I'm going to ride as many roller coasters as I can when I'm there for
Also,
one
hence
day.
the Fast Pass reason, right?
So that's why, if we're going to spend the money, we're going to spend the money. So we got into the park for about $35 when you do that deal for the fast. And here's the other thing too. They have 2 different kinds of Fast Passes.
Oh my
really?
goodness.
Yeah. They have the regular
Make it more
one.
confusing.
That's right. And then they have the Fast Pass Plus,
Ooh.
which, includes like the 5 newest or biggest rides. So you can get a Fast Pass and get on most of the rides, skip the lines. But if you really want to ride the big ones, you're going to have to pay a little more and get the Fast Pass Plus, and then you can get everything. You can skip the line.
What can someone expect to pay for the?
So at Cedar Point, $120 a person.
Oh my
goodness.
gosh.
Yeah.
So
Cha-ching.
you pay
Cha-ching.
more than it costs to get into the
Like
actual
4
park.
times. Yeah. But
Wow.
when you factor in how much we saved on the actual gate ticket and the fact that like when they ate lunch, I got 5 rides on one roller coaster in a 30-minute time frame and the line was about an hour. I've waited in it before, I know.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said before we were talking to you before we started recording, and I asked Sarah, it's like, how many rides did you ride? And you said like 30 some odd in one day.
Right, if you count repeat rides on
Right.
things.
Out of the, what'd you say, how many roller coasters did they say?
16 or 17.
We're talking about the adult, not the children, but the adult
Right.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, like I
So-
told Ariel, we rode all the rides that mattered.
Yeah.
But, it was a lot of money, but when you do it once every 2 years, it's worth it to me.
Mhm.
We wouldn't have rode half the number of rides, had we not bought that.
The Cedar Pass. So in essence, I mean, it was really worth your money and time.
For me, yeah. for
Especially
sure.
because you're a person who loves the roller coasters.
Right. Yeah. And
So-
Ariel would always, as soon as we got off one, she'd be like, can we ride it again? Yes, we can.
You betcha.
Whereas if you didn't have it, it'd be like, well, do you want to wait another hour and a half, 2 hours for that?
And that means you can't ride something else later.
Right.
Whereas we pretty much got to ride everything we wanted and 2 or 3 times
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
each. So
My goodness.
So let's talk about another one. Another ride.
Another ride? Okay. Which ride do you guys want to talk about next?
I can tell you about the record breakers. I just read this morning. Oh, what was the stat? Do you remember what I told you? I read it in the car. Cedar Point was the only park that, I forgot.
had 6 or 7 coasters
record
that
breakers.
topped over 200.
Oh, over 200 feet tall. That's right. It had the most roller coasters of any park over 200 feet tall, I think.
Wow. That's Cedar Point.
Yeah. So they have the Magnum, which is one of my favorites. Oldie but goodie. It's rough now, but boy, it's fun.
I remember talking about the Magnum.
The Magnum XL 200, the first roller coaster to break 200 feet.
We
that the
talked about
one?
that
Yes.
Is that the one that had the really, really pretty view at the top?
Yeah. The red one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It comes, when you crest the second hill, you're just looking out over the lake.
one.
And it's just a great view, and the beaches right below you and all that kind of stuff. So that was the first 200-foot roller coaster. Then in 2000, they built Millennium Force, first roller coaster to break 300 feet. And it was quickly surpassed by a roller coaster in Japan that was like, 10 or 15 feet tall, or just enough to say
Just a little
you
bit
can't have
more.
the tallest anymore. Yeah. But it was the first one to be 300 feet tall. And it's on the edge again, right off the water. So essentially it's this, there's a good picture of it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sandy's showing a picture of Millennium Force.
Millennium Force, yes.
Yeah.
300 feet, 98.
Everybody look that up. Only if you're not driving.
Yeah. 98-ish, I think, miles an hour, and the first drop is almost 90 degrees. It's like 88.
gravy.
maybe.
That is insane.
Oh, it's great, yeah. So first 300-footer, 98-ish, 90-something miles an hour, almost straight down, and then it's got a lot of, instead of the ejector seat airtime, it's got a lot of floaty airtime, so you just kind of float. Yeah, very smooth.
No gravity.
Yeah, for, a second or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Magnum and Millennium Force don't go upside down. It's just all about height and airtime. Essentially,
Okay.
that's what they were built for. Speed, height, and airtime.
I don't know which one I object to the worst.
Well, we'll write them both and see what you think.
You notice he didn't say which one I would like the best. He
Yeah.
said which one
I know
I'd
I phrased
object
it,
to the worst.
Yeah, because both of them are frightening to me.
But he didn't say he wouldn't ride.
I'm just telling you that it'd be very difficult for me to get on there. Once I got up to the point where I'm getting ready to sit in the car, I'm like, nope, I changed my mind. Goodbye.
So Millennium Force, and then the last one, record breaker, they had the first roller coaster to be 400 feet tall.
Wow.
Top Thrill Dragster, I think it's 420 is the exact stat if I remember right. That ride is the best, quickest ride I've ever been on. Because
Even more so than
it only lasts like
Outlaw
17
Run
seconds.
and-
Oh yeah, Outlaw Run is an eternity compared to Top Thrill Dragster.
Wow.
So Top Thrill Dragster, it's a launch coaster.
Oh.
So it launches, it uses like powder keg.
Yeah, like
That's the one.
powder
It
keg,
uses
yeah.
hydraulics. Powder keg uses air. Dragster uses hydraulics. I believe same propulsion system used on aircraft carriers to get planes.
Whoa.
Yeah. So you get strapped. All you got's a lap bar.
That's a
which is
lot of
awesome.
G's.
Oh yeah.
Did you just catch that he said all you have is a lap bar?
Yeah, I'm ignoring that. Go on.
That's
move on.
that's the best part. You have nothing to restrain you. I think we talked about this one.
Yeah.
One time a while back. But anyway, 0 to 120,
Yeah.
4 seconds.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Then straight up, 90 degrees straight up. So you're just looking up at the sky, 420 feet.
Oh.
And then you crest up. There's a picture of it
Yeah,
right
there's
there.
how.
You
Yeah.
crest over it, turn back and go down 90 degrees straight down, little twist, and then you smooth out, and that's the whole
Okay,
ride.
yes, I remember us talking about
Yeah.
this. Okay, so now I'm just going to plug our podcast and Jason at the same time. We've had him on before, just like we said at the beginning of the podcast. And if you're interested in hearing more, because this is going to be a 2-part episode, in between episodes coming out, the next one, the second half, you can go and listen to episode 59 and episode number 60. The one about bunny hops, barrel rolls, and boomerangs. So, we talked about a lot of these roller coasters.
We did,
on
yeah.
those,
That was
and
so fun.
it was a lot of fun talking about those.
We also
Imagine how much fun it's going to be when you ride them, though.
You're insane.
Well, there's so many reasons for that statement to be
You
true.
are insane.
I agree.
Yeah. See?
don't
She
forget
agrees
Yeah, well,
that
Steve,
you're insane.
don't forget that tenderfoot philosophy.
Oh my gosh.
We've been talking about the fact
Baby
that
steps, baby. Baby
the
steps.
reason we like the whole tenderfoot tourist thing is because we've realized at this point in our lives we're almost 50, and we have missed so many things. So now it's about trying new things and being new at a lot of
Sure.
things because there's so much out there to try.
That's right.
So-
Roller coasters is definitely one of them.
There you go.
It is definitely one of them. It's one of those things that, like, okay, there are a few things that I just refuse. That's it. I don't care. I don't care what and how old I am or my change of mind. Heights terrify me.
Bungee jumping,
Bungee jumping,
parachuting.
all those things. Just, I can't get my mind around it. I cannot get past it. Now, scuba diving scares me to death.
Really?
But I'm going to try to do that because of the fact that is a fear of mine. Water, it scares me. Shower is about as far as it goes. Getting stuck in the rain, about as far as it goes. Large bodied waters, no bueno.
Yeah, I don't like water either.
No bueno.
So, make a long story short, scuba diving is something that's in our future.
Mm-hmm.
Zip lining was about as close as you're going to get to me is being up high and
But
have
you
done
did
that?
like it. Yes, and he
Oh,
liked
that's fun. Yeah, we did that in Jamaica. That was fun.
it. We did it on the beach of Alabama, and that was really neat.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought of something that, as far as like, is the kids section for their rides, is it in a completely separate half of the amusement park, or are they mixed in?
Mixed in.
But they're pretty condensed together, each of the areas. There's a lot of rides together.
There's
In one
tons.
area.
Yeah, lots of rides. Oh my gosh.
And there's a few things here and there. There's the old-timey cars,
Yeah, little antique cars, and there's
a carousel, a couple
a
carousels.
carousel from like the early 1900s that goes super
Didn't the
fast.
Brady Bunch go there at one point?
Kings Island.
Oh, was that Kings Island?
Next episode.
Okay.
That's a good segue to tease your listeners
There
to
you
listen
go.
to the next episode.
Go to the place the Brady Bunches went.
That's them Brady bunches.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so if you were going to sell someone who'd never been there, how would you sell them on going to Cedar Point?
You or me?
I mean, if you love roller coasters, then that would be the place to go because there's lots of really big coasters that take you fast, and some have airtime and all the upside downs. And
It's a collection. You will not find another collection of the types of roller coasters in one place, in one sitting, and just the different variations. I mean, their oldest roller coasters from the early 1900s, and again, they still continue to build them this day, so they just have all different kinds. Now, they don't have every kind, obviously, but you're not, maybe one or two other places I can think of, you can find something similar, but very few places would you have the collection and the type of rides all in one place, and you can get through it in a day if you do it right and get the
Nice.
fast pass.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
You're welcome.
Our pleasure.
And thank you for going to Cedar Point for us.
Well, I wouldn't have otherwise, so
Just for us.
yeah. I'll see if I can swing it again, maybe, if
There
you
you
need me to
go.
go again.
Okay, Sarah and
Yes.
Jason, come back to another episode. We're going to do part 2 where you guys have also went to Kings Island like we mentioned before.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's going to be a lot of fun. Talking about some of the rides there. The fact that the Brady Bunch were there too. That's exciting,
And
right?
the Partridge Family.
Oh, the Partridge Family went there too. There
That's
you go.
right.
So anyway, this was an excellent episode. Wouldn't you agree, Sandy?
It's always an excellent.
It's always an, especially
I
when you
can't
have
even
Jason.
talk.
Yeah. When is it not an excellent episode?
Exactly.
Every episode of Two Tenderfoot Tourists.
That's right.
So anyway, thank you everyone for listening to episode number
98. The one about Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio.
Two Tenderfoot Tourists is a weekly family-friendly podcast. If you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe to Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Spotify, just to name a few.
to get in touch with us and chat about this podcast or even your travel experiences, simply email us at tenderfoottourists@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Keep those suggestions coming, and maybe you'll give us our best episode of 2019. I'm Steve.
And I'm Sandy.
Until next time.
Stay tender.